Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Fit and Focused for Remote Work and Digital Nomads podcast. My name is Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, brain performance coach, and just someone with a lot of passion for helping you guys to learn the tools, nutrition, lifestyle, environment that is around you, all of that on a purpose to look, feel, and do your absolute best. And guys, once again, it's not about diets or some crazy workout regimes or being all perfect or doing some crazy biohacks. Not at all. It's just using or changing what you already do, like things you put on your plate, you already eat, so you might as well eat to make yourself feel confident, for example, right? Things you already do. But now you know how to actually do these things better. With a few changes here and there, you know how to use your environment that you are already in to make yourself feel better, and that makes you take better actions, and that will make you again feel better and also look better. That is how it works. Like, for example, if you expose yourself, not necessarily looking at the sun, expose yourself to natural light first thing in the morning, you're gonna activate the production of neurotransmitters like dopamine, like serotonin, and you don't necessarily need to know what exactly they do. Just know that one gives you motivation, the other one makes you feel good and confident and satisfied. It's kind of really good balance. So when you know how to do again certain practices that help to balance, to have optimal levels of both. Today, I want to talk to you about a set of tools with a specific purpose. I often do that because we don't usually think about like, oh, I need to raise my levels of dopamine or serotonin or norepinephrine. No, normal people don't think like that. I can think like that, right? But that's because in my brain, certain states of mind or certain feelings, how I feel, what I think, they are already so linked to certain words and practices that I might think to myself like, my dopamine might be low. Need to maybe eat some fava beans or do some hyperventilation breathing, or take cold shower, even better, or exercise. But that's not how most people think. How most people think, how my clients think, how my friends think, how you guys think is, okay, in the morning, I might feel anxious, and I don't want to be feeling anxious because I want to show up for whatever that mission, that vision, that work I need to do, and I want to show up confident, not anxious, right? And that matters. Those things matter because they change the thoughts that we have about the world, about our work, about ourselves, and that changes our actions. And if we consistently feel anxiety in the morning and it consistently changes our action, then our life going to be changed and it goes into a completely different direction, not in a direction that it could have gone if we felt confident every morning. So today is about anxiety and how to feel less anxious and more confident every single morning. 4 simple food practices, food and drink, that you need to start doing if you feel anxious in the morning. So again, I'm not saying, depending on where you are with levels of your anxiety, that you're gonna start feeling 100% confident and it's like nothing can stop you. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that your anxiety levels will drop or especially with time and consistently completely disappear, and especially if you combine it with other practices. So 4 things to do for breakfast to reduce your anxiety and increase your confidence. And we all need a little bit more of that confidence to be maybe a little bit more cocky, to get out there and talk about our passions, our projects with all the confidence, with all the passion, with all the intensity and energy, so other people get curious, like, what are they so passionate, confident, excited about, right? Let me get some of that. So let's get to business. 4 things to have to do for breakfast. Number 1, have your carbohydrates. Guys, whenever your blood sugar fluctuates a lot, it's a very disturbing sign for your brain that things are out of balance, because blood sugar, maintaining balanced blood sugar, it's what your life is about. If your body, if your brain, they can't maintain that, your survival is in serious danger. That's why, for example, if somebody has serious problems with their blood sugar, like pre-diabetic, diabetic, the whole life becomes kind of a roller coaster, always worrying about that blood sugar. And that's not just, the physical sensation or energy. It's also the brain states, anxiety, feeling fatigued, feeling worried. Lower blood sugar fluctuations have a lot to do with that. Like, it's one of the major things that the body has to think about to keep you alive. And whenever those start fluctuating, your blood sugar levels, that's where you start feeling anxious, worried, and just kind of like all over the place, not really focused. So how can you help yourself to have more balanced blood sugar? You can eat your carbohydrates that are long, that are slow, that takes time to digest, to break down. And those carbohydrates come from whole foods. Now, let me give you the best recommendations. Those are lentils, beans, because they have the most amount of fiber per portion, balanced with the moderate average amount of carbohydrates. Plus, there are so many minerals and good amount of protein, plant-based protein, right? So for all of these other reasons, we have resistant starch that is super amazing for your gut health, and also to prevent all kinds of food sensitivities. So when you cook your lentils, your beans, right, that needs to be soaked, even better pressure cooked after that. So when you do it right and you eat, let's say, a cup of cooked lentils, or, other beans, like I love chickpeas also. When you eat that for breakfast, those carbohydrates going to be released into your bloodstream very gradually, and that will help you to maintain very balanced blood sugar. From there, we have whole grains. For some people, it also works well, although grains, depending on the grain, but mostly grains have much less fiber and more carbohydrates, so that tweaking that ratio, so to speak, makes them not as long, not as slow, not as good as, let's say, again, lentils or beans for maintaining balanced blood sugar. Then we have tubers, things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, all kinds of starchy stuff. Then we have fruit that are even simpler sugars, but they're fructose, so for some people, actually, fruit might work pretty well. For some people, not so well. For breakfast, I usually recommend, especially if you are on an anxiety side of things, especially if you think that your blood sugar might not be that ideal, then I do recommend to stick with lentils and beans, and then maybe try out other options to compare. And I definitely would like you to not consume any processed sugars. And by processed sugars, I mean anything that was made into flour, anything that was refined, like juice or even smoothie. I do not recommend smoothie. Chew your fruit and berries or whatever. Like, unless you make super green smoothie and there is like no fruit, maybe tomatoes to make it flavorful, or some lime juice. Unless you do like very mildly sugary things like that, tomatoes also have natural sugars, then please do not juice and smooth. And also things like whole grain pasta, they're not really whole, like it was made into flour. They are not whole. Whole is whole bean, whole grain, the one that you have to chew to make into powder in your mouth. So whole carbohydrates, again, start with lentils and beans. Those usually give the best outcome when it comes to maintaining balanced blood sugar. Now, just don't forget to cook them well. Otherwise, you might experience digestive problems. That really, really, really does matter for beans and lentils, because they have certain anti-nutrients making digestion difficult, unless you do things like soaking them for appropriate amount of time. I usually soak for 2 days, then pressure cook them. That actually removes most of those things that make digestion difficult. So long carbohydrates properly cooked. Number 2, protein. Especially, I'm talking about animal-based protein that has all the amino acids that we need and has specific amino acids like tryptophan that serotonin is made of. And serotonin is very, very important for keeping our anxiety levels low and our confidence levels higher. Serotonin is very important and it needs very specific amino acid, tryptophan. And in bigger amounts, in sufficient amounts, it's only really available in animal-based protein. And even then, you need to eat sufficient. The best proteins for your tryptophan are things like chicken or turkey. Then we have beef and pork, also dairy products and eggs are pretty good sources. Tofu on a plant-based side is also quite a great source. But don't forget to eat sufficient amount so you get 30 grams of your protein. And if you decide to go for a protein shake, make sure that tryptophan, that specific amino acid, is listed there among all the amino acids, because sometimes you get some shake, and I'm talking about plant-based, and there is very little to no tryptophan. Also, by the way, you can find tryptophan as a supplement, 500 milligrams, but do consult your medical care provider, because you just never know if you're supposed to be taking something like that or not, especially if you are taking some other medications or a lot of supplements, right? So whole food first, that's all, always. So protein for breakfast to make your serotonin that is important for lowering your anxiety levels and making your confidence levels higher. So eat your protein, at least 30 grams, 40 grams for breakfast from animal-based food. If you do go for plant-based food, then probably things like tofu, tempeh, fermented soy products, or some good quality protein shakes that do have tryptophan. So protein, take your fish oil or eat your salmon for breakfast. That will help with serotonin also, and that will provide all the omega-3s. Omega-3s boost your serotonin. The release of it, the usage of it, they make serotonin more effective. And again, serotonin is important for lowering anxiety and pumping up your confidence levels. Higher dosages of fish oil, for example, for omega-3s, they even use in different therapies, kind of like antidepressants. And they're quite effective. So fish oil to lower your anxiety, 2 grams of EPA and DHA combined. So if you take it as food, then about 200 grams or more than 6 ounces of your salmon, maybe like good can of sardines with all the bones and skin. So that's how you're going to get your protein and your fish oil in one food. And the last but not least, coffee. So coffee does cause anxiety symptoms in some people more than in others. And it depends again on your individual kind of tolerance and what it does in your brain, caffeine, and also the amount. If you drink a small espresso shot, like 50 or 60 milligrams of caffeine, that's one thing. If you drink a huge venti from Starbucks, that's 450 plus milligrams of caffeine. Again, compare 50 in espresso shot and 450 in biggest coffee drink in Starbucks. And that 20 Starbucks, for most people, it is a lot of anxiety, for myself including. That's why I personally drink coffee. I actually switching to decaf this year. So August 1st, I'm removing all the caffeine from my coffee. At least I'm going to be consuming it in chocolate and things like green tea. But from coffee, I feel like I might be consuming too much even for myself. I want to boost my serotonin. So why less caffeine? And why I suggest you to either switch to decaf or even better to green tea. So why is that? Let's start with caffeine. Caffeine does reduce your serotonin. And when serotonin is reduced, especially if your levels are already suboptimal, you're going to get more anxiety. So that's why less caffeine is better. The second thing about green tea, why you might opt in for green tea because it has another element, it has another compound, L-theanine, that actually has been shown to promote serotonin, boost your serotonin, and promote things like alpha brainwaves that are more common in meditative states or more calm and peaceful states, right? So that's why, for example, green tea, even though it might even sometimes have more caffeine than the same cup of coffee, of course, not Starbucks venti, but, like regular cup of coffee, sometimes it might have more caffeine, but because of that L-theanine that comes with that caffeine, the total effect is more on a less anxiety, more confidence side. So you also can take that compound L-theanine that I just talked about that is in green tea naturally. You can also take it as a supplement. Try it with your caffeinated coffee, with your decaf coffee, and see how you feel. For a lot of people, it really makes a difference when it comes to anxiety levels. And when it comes to L-theanine, the dosage that is recommended is 300 milligrams or so per intake, right? So take it, see how you feel, or just drink green tea. What I personally do, I'm not actually such a fan of green tea drinking. I got myself matcha powder, and what I do in the morning as a supplement, I just take half a teaspoon of that matcha powder with water. It's kind of like really bitter, but it's fast, and I get the benefits of green tea. That's supposed to be also kind of on longevity drinks list. So that's how I do my green tea, and I'm switching to decaf. Because again, I'm optimizing for serotonin, for confidence, for that peaceful state of mind that I need to make a long-term decisions instead of riding anxiety waves into pushing myself into God knows what else, like, right? So we want to be more long-term thinkers. We want to make calm decisions. We want to make balanced decisions that are good for now, but also good long-term. And because of that, I'm switching to decaf. I'm having my matcha green tea powder to optimize for serotonin, and because it also boosts confidence. Serotonin is the molecule, one of the molecules that makes confident state happen in your brain. And that's why you want to optimize for serotonin. That's why you want to optimize for serotonin with your fish oil, 2 grams of it, EPA plus DHA. That's why you want to get your protein. And also additional advice, when you exercise and after that you eat your protein, what actually happens in your body is your muscles get some of the amino acids, but they kind of leave the tryptophan. They give the chance for the brain to get that tryptophan much easier. We're not going to get deeper into details, but just understand that exercise makes that tryptophan more effective for serotonin production in your brain. That's why having some exercise that makes you sweat, be that like 15-20 minutes of some dancing, rollerblading, or weightlifting or bodyweight workout, doing that in the morning and then following it up with animal-based protein, especially things like chicken and turkey that are super rich in tryptophan, well, compared to other sources. So doing that, and then also, of course, eating your long carbohydrates, eating or taking fish oil, and then less coffee and more things like green tea and matcha, maybe decaf plus matcha powder like I'm going to be doing, or L-theanine that is in green tea. Some variation of that. If you have questions, reach out on Instagram or use the link and schedule a call for other tips for anxiety in the morning and during the day, right? So those things, do them, and you'll see how your anxiety levels will start to drop. And at some point you'll feel, I love mornings. I kind of feel at peace. I make really good decisions. I love doing my work, even if there is stress at my work, or, I'm working on my business idea, and I actually feel good working on it, even if it's challenging. So all of these things you might notice will happen once you start doing, again, eat the long carbs, those lentils, those beans, and then maybe tried sweet potatoes and fruit just to compare. Eat your protein, especially chicken, especially turkey. if you're on a plant-based side, be careful. You might not be getting the tryptophan at all, or very little. A fish oil, either in a form of food like salmon or sardines, or in a form of supplement, 2 grams of EPA and DHA. Less coffee, decaf, more green tea, maybe matcha powder, L-theanine as a supplement. Additional boosters of your serotonin and your confidence are exercise and sunshine. So basically sun or light outside. So if you do your exercise outside, that's like double boost. And that's it, guys. That's how you lower your anxiety, boost your confidence to get better long-term decisions, and also to get out there and pitch your thing with all the passion, energy, and intensity so it magnetically draws people in, right? Our state really, really matters. Guys, if you think about all the peoples, all the leaders, all the speakers, all the entrepreneurs, whoever that is, people you admire, if you think about it, what they have in common, what they all have in common is the energy level that just shines from that. And that's the kind of energy you want to develop and manifest consistently every day, whenever you need it, if you want to make impact on other people. And that's the only way really to make your gig shine, when you make impact on other people, when you help, when you inspire, when you create good states in other people. And you can't create great state in other people if you don't have that. And as simple as that, what you are, that's what you're going to create in the world. That's why managing your anxiety and increasing your confidence is so damn important. It's all about our state that radiates, that shines, that transmits into the world and to other people. So shine bright. And again, slow carbs, protein, your fish oil, your omega-3s, your less caffeine, more green tea, exercise and sunshine in the morning, and you're gonna start feeling pretty damn good. So that's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, reach out, and till next time, as usual, eat better daily.